Hello, Star Wars fans and Star Wars CCG enthusiasts. My name is Garrett Larson. I'm on here with Ian for the Premiere through Special Edition Retro Finals. It's going to be Joe Horbey, who has played a very unique old school Revo Twixes, or two for me, none for you deck through the finals to get here, along with a ISB Scum and versus Timo Dusel or Dillen, who is playing, I believe, Hidden Base X-Wings and Corulag Operatives. Again, I'm Garrett Larson, Dead Body, and I am joined by Ian. Hopefully,
hello, everybody.
And hopefully everyone can hear Ian. If you can't, please let me know. Looks like we've got some people in chat. And it looks like they are ready to rock.
Yeah, it looks like they've started
the game, so we will jump into it here. And looks like I just got to look at this here because did I guess right again on sides?
Yeah.
So, yep, looks like Joe's starting with his light side first. Joe was the higher seed going into this.
Yeah, this is going to be an uphill battle for him. Unless he catches the Operatives with their pants down and manages to get a good battle in with some overflow, he's going to have some trouble dealing with the drains from the Operatives.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm worried about, is I think he's going to struggle to get that going. He's going to have to get there and do something about it.
So luckily, he is set up for choke. So because he's starting to draw their fire so that he can try and set up a beggar beatdown.
That's not what I wanted to do.
So it will be interesting to see if Timo plans for that ahead of time, or gets caught by one.
Yeah, and that's going to be I feel like Timo plays well enough to know not to do that. So now it's going to be a question of we shall see. I see that he started draw their fire.
Yep. He did that because he's trying to set up a beggar beatdown. Basically, that's his best chance at winning, is using beggar to delete Timo's force so that he can't afford to pay for Gek.
Yep. And now that we have seen from last round the very successful Grimtosh, I like altering well guarded right there.
Yep, that was part of where I got a little bit hosed up when I was playing against his light side, is that I was digging for a Monarch that I knew was in my force pile, and I stopped before I got to it.
Okay, so Timo gets the there is no try half a turn too late, although I think Joe still would have burnt.
Oh, absolutely.
Burning the 2 to get rid of that.
What'll be interesting to see is how aggressive Joe is in general with his Sense and Altars with there is no try on the table.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Because I think he's got to be somewhat aggressive with them. And it looks like Timo's flipping the aggressive switch as well, throwing down ability, and just trying to force the action right away.
So Timo only has 3 ability at that site, though.
Yeah. And no ability to draw battle destiny. He won't add one right now.
Right. So with him not having any force saved at all, if Joe has like a Luke in his hand, he's activating enough force to be able to deploy Luke and battle.
Well, he's got a... Yeah, he is now that Timo put that last site out, because it'll cost him +3 to battle at the swamp.
Yeah, so that would have been 9. So 5 for EPP Luke and 4 for the battle.
Yeah, which is a tight, that doesn't give him any sort of leeway, but if he's got it, that's definitely the play. And honestly, even a Leia with gun is...
Right. I would battle with... I would battle with a Han. He's not getting Destiny. Like, you'll get... Oh, even better.
I'll be honest, I don't think I care for that play particularly.
Oh, wait, is that... Which site is that? Is that just
That's the +3 to battle, which is...
Oh, yeah. Well, so he runs a lot of Revos. I mean, we're in the finals, so I believe that the deck has 8 to 10 in there. So...
Yeah, no, he's got a bunch of Revos to play, but I feel like
and there's the Luke.
The jungle's a better target for the Revo.
Well, so I think he did that this turn, so that if Timo tries to hit him back, Timo has to pay the +4. Because Timo's only activating 7 right now.
And I can see that. I don't hate the play, I just don't feel like it was necessarily ideal.
I really don't.
Activating 7, he's probably not rebeating anyways. I don't think it was...
The thing is with EPP Luke is the guy that dropped. All Timo has to do is draw Destiny to clear him.
Yeah.
So what he's doing here is he's going to clear most of that site, but he's also, by flipping the swamp with only 7 force, he's making it much harder for Timo to get the 2 guys. I mean, he can't get the 2 guys down he needs for Destiny, more than likely, and start the fight there, which means that Luke will be safe to sit there and continue to occupy that site.
Yeah. And he got rid of ability there.
Right.
So
no, I actually do like that play a lot.
Yeah, it's certainly not bad. So... And he's probably got enough Revos, he can hit Revolutions, he can hit the jungle.
Right.
If he needs to.
And that was why I was... that was part of why, like, if he had less Revos, I would have been more concerned, but I believe he's got enough Revos in there to Revo every single site at Corulag.
Yeah. So... Now I'm wondering what he's going to do, what Timo's going to do. Because he did end up keeping DS61-2 alive. Like,
so with that, he can drop another guy and try and fight Luke and clear him. And he'll get to retrieve 1, but he may just try and get DS613 out of there.
Yeah, I feel like just moving guy, trying to... I think you've got to move him away, but like... Timo just doesn't have enough cards yet.
Right. So, I mean, that's really how the Ops deck deals with, light side mains, is you want them to come down early enough that they don't do a ton of damage to you, and then you strand them.
Yeah.
Then you drop a bunch of sites between them and the rest of your stuff so that you can sit over there and drain for 6, 8, 10 a turn while they're trying to chase you.
Yeah. And that's what he's going to try and do. It's...
Getting the low bell is a big deal, though. I'm not sure how many Timo runs. Mine ran 3.
Because right now he can Nabrin Ben over there and...
Or Luke, he's got options because he's got Nabrin. So
good point.
Clearing that low bell was huge. And likely, Timo only has 2, maybe 3 more in there. Maybe 3. Likely just 2, because he runs the TIE Scout air package.
Yeah. So he's probably light on them. I see Joe went and got Beggar right away, so I think we'll see him play that even just to use the one right now.
Yep. Because that keeps options out of Timo's hands.
Yeah, that definitely forces Timo to be much more cognizant of how much he can do if he has to worry about at any point he won't be able to Hujix.
Right, yeah, he'll have to save 2 force a turn as opposed to just 1, which when you're only activating 7 is really going to hurt.
And not just the saving 2, but knowing that even with those 2 saved, you can always be jumped.
Well, and that was why I was... Oh, so he's going to Grimtosh him now and then retrieve it if he's able to battle.
Darth Vader with lightsaber, operative, point man, spaceport street presence, operative, Boba Fett. So he gets the 2 operatives. And he sees that Timo's got good characters, like the Darth Vader with lightsaber is cute, but
he doesn't have the force for him.
And, like, what's he going to do? Drop him and trade him with Luke? Like, that seems... I guess, like, you drop him on Luke, you battle, you retrieve the Corulag operative. Well, he doesn't even have the force to...
Yeah, he doesn't have the force to do that unless Luke goes over the docking bay.
And I don't see any point to moving Luke to the docking bay right now.
Nope, I would leave Luke
especially knowing that he's got the Vader and the Boba Fett with gun. Like, you just let him have it. You know he can't flip this turn.
Right.
You know he can't do anything. Turn. Yeah.
More than likely.
It'd be nice to, So what's he going to call with... Oh, naming the signal.
The signal.
Yep. Because he knows he's got at least 1 in there. And...
Yep. Get rid of the voyeurs.
Yeah. The voyeur is one of those that's one of the ways he's going to cause force loss.
Well, and not only that, but if he catches a nice lost pile and can call, lost on a stack of senses or something.
Yep. So Joe draws a couple more to refill his hand.
Now, I'm surprised he didn't use one of Timo's force for the Grimtosh.
He didn't play the beggar.
Oh.
That's the thing is Joe's only activating 10. He paid 3 to go get the beggar. And then he paid 4 for the Grimtosh.
And then he picked up the rest of them.
And then he drew a couple. Like, otherwise he would have... if he plays the beggar and uses one of them for the Grimtosh, he still ends up only getting the 1.
Yeah, but on the bright side, because he cleared those operatives out, he's basically bought himself another turn's worth of stalling.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he wants. And that Timo needs to put Boba Fett there simply because a Nabrin would wreck his world right now.
Yep. A Nabrin or a Leia would have even.
Yeah. Anything would have wrecked his world. And honestly, with him not being flipped, I'd still be a little concerned of... Maybe not Leia. Leia alone feels a little dangerous because Fett can definitely hit her.
Right.
But if I had an Abram right now, I would drop Luke and go after them for the retrieval and to just knock out another operative.
Yep.
Timo can only be running so many operatives because you can't stack them at sight, so he's probably only got 9 or 10. And if you just keep killing them off, you could prevent Timo from even ever flipping.
Well, and so right now we're at another operative in the lost pot. I think that's 4 now.
Yeah. So it was 1 to the battle, 2 to the Grimtash, and that 1 there. So Kenobi was there to fuel Sense Alter right away. He comes down cheap. He can... Well, somebody asked in chat, Talon Jade asked in chat why Kenobi's there. And there's a lot of reasons for that Kenobi.
So the main reason is the Sense Alter, for him being there early. It lets him get the Sense Alter out for really, really cheap. At some point, Joe will Nabrin him, because the one thing to keep in mind, Talon, is that Ben Kenobi can only deploy to Tatooine. So it's not like he could have stuck him somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's... And there
And
you
there's the
see
Nabron.
the Nabron. And yeah, he's moving Luke. So now, with it only costing him 1, the question really is, does he have anyone to back up Luke with? Like, Han right now would be... Actually, Han wouldn't be great, simply because he'll get a Battle Destiny added back against Boba.
And Boba will probably shoot Han.
Yeah, Boba's much more likely to be able to shoot Han than Luke.
Right.
Like 3... But it doesn't matter, because Battle Destiny, you're going to lose Luke to the Destiny. Like, you're fine with that. And that might be exactly what Joe is thinking is, well, whatever, I'm going to... You know, if he puts down Han, his best case scenario is clear the site. Now, I actually think if I'm...
There's operative number 6. I'm swinging at the operative.
Or now I'm swinging at the operative. I would have contemplated swinging at 61-2 simply because he's much better forfeit. Wow.
Oh, and we missed the operative.
He missed everybody. Luke's over there just trying to keep swinging. Maybe he'll give him a cold. That was... That could have been unpleasant.
That's also probably part of why he's swinging at the operative, is that at this point, he knows his destinies are not great. Yeah. This is a deck that is going to struggle to hit, really to hit things like Vader or Boba Fett until he manages to get his deck stacked up.
Ooh. That went all kinds of not the way Joe wanted it to, but it didn't really hurt him.
He'll play one of the characters more than likely.
And now with what Dillen had there, without knowing exactly what was in his hand, I might have not even drawn Destiny there. Like, I would have tried to come back over the top of Luke and use Draw Their Fire to retrieve the... you lose the operative because he only forfeits for 2 anyways. Or he's lower forfeit, you drop whatever's in your hand on top of Luke, you Draw Their Fire to retrieve it, and potentially cause some sort of actual damage.
But Goonie Tay is out now, so for him to drop Vader on Luke would be 8.
Yeah, that's why I said it depends a lot on what else he had drawn into. And his deck might just not be well suited to do that, but like even a Lobel wouldn't be terrible, because the Lobels also subtracts 2 from Luke's.
So he deployed the Vader anyway. So I think if you're going to deploy the Vader anyway, then yeah, you don't draw Destiny on... Well, no, because you could have tossed Luke regardless because of how low Luke drew.
Yeah. But then you make him make that decision, and it's... I definitely think that
if you're deploying the Vader, that I'd have tried to throw a beating on Luke.
Yeah.
If he was going to deploy something else or work towards flipping or something...
And there's the sense on the Abyssine Ornament puller.
You want to get rid of those.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it to stop the pull, but what he's doing is he's trying to get him out of the deck.
Yeah, he's killing it so he can't... It's harder for him to find it, to retrieve it, to get the retrieval. I'm just not sure he's going to get to the retrieval.
I don't think so either, the way this game is going. He's lost half his operatives.
Yeah.
He's going to struggle to flip, which Joe and I talked about this ahead of the game. That was really what Joe's game plan is. Joe needed to stop him from flipping. Yeah. So get in on the operative planet as early as possible, as aggressively as possible, and prevent the flip. Because once it flips, he's going to have a lot of trouble with it.
And there's Tashi Station, which he's going to move Ben over and drain for 1, which is cute and actually not a terrible thing until Timo can actually get flipped. But it's going to turn his activation into a zillion.
Right.
Because it'll activate another 9 force a turn. Like, that'll get spicy pretty quick.
Yeah, he'll activate another 5.
It's the forfeit of your...
So it's the power of your highest forfeit. I just double-checked it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was forfeit. All right, so even an extra 5.
Oh yeah,
So
no, I mean it's
Hark
still a time.
Seth.
There's Spark who will stop any drains from Timo there.
Yep. Hark and
Melas
Melas
to just
just
get
for
Destiny.
and have some forfeit fodder. And actually, Melas will have some immunity. There's Ula going over there as well. That's gonna annoy Timo greatly.
Yeah, it will. Oh yeah, because Timo's not running the non-unique guys, so he's running a bunch of unique guys. So yeah, Ula's gonna dump his hand, and he's activating it now to be able to do that every turn. So
Yeah, I mean,
at this point, Timo's hosed, so he needs to start looking at differential.
Yep. I'm not entirely sure that moving in front of Harkin. God, I hate the idea of moving in front of Harkin Melas when Joe's activating 20 force. He put the spaceport street down there so he can't anyways.
Yep. I mean, that's really how you have to. So with the fast flipping op stacks, you really don't have the juice in general to go do a bunch of fighting. And so what you're really trying to do is to pick very, very precise battles and just play keep away the rest of the time.
And I think Timo's dumping his unique guys just to get them out of there.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
Yeah. And moving everyone. I don't love moving everyone like that. Like, I almost would have preferred to keep.
Yeah, but
Vader at one side and get that. Yeah, but Joe's got 20 force in a commanding lead. You have to play a little bit loose to try and make something happen.
I don't think he is. I think that he's in damage control at this point.
Timo is just going to try and maximize damage and call it good?
Yep, I think he's just going to try and grind down where he can, and as much as he can, because right now he's looking at a differential of 25, 29, plus whatever Joe can put back.
So we just got the Grimtash that got another 2 Corulag Operatives. So Timo might not have any left.
He's probably got a couple left, but he's definitely going to have trouble flipping.
I mean, he's now lost. All right, so he's got 1 there in hand now, but he's now lost 4 to Grimtashes, 1 to a Drain, 1 to a Draw Their Fire, and 1 to Battles.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
he can't have too many left.
No. I completely agree. I don't think he's got many left. He probably can still flip, but there's no guarantee.
Because to flip, he's going to have to do
3.
Yeah, and it just doesn't matter what the opponent does.
Right, yeah, once you've flipped, and that's why we had talked about the strategy for dealing with this for Joe as being getting in there early, because once it's flipped, it's horrifically hard to flip it back.
Yeah.
But stopping it from flipping, if you can get in there aggressively enough, is not impossible.
Yep, and he just
if they don't flip on turn 1 or 2.
Just Ulad to get rid of Ozel and Salacious Crumb. So Timo's got 1 character in hand, and it's a Corulag Operative. And using Neighborin to move Hark and Melas.
Next door.
Yep, just to the spaceport docking bay.
To stop that drain.
Yep.
And put some cards back.
Yeah. This is
So at this point, if you're Timo, you may start thinking about just picking up, because if there are some on the edges here, it could really...
Is he going to be able to pick up? I guess.
So unlike me, who forgot that I was playing hidden base and couldn't do that, no, Beggar's only on Joe's turn.
That's what I was thinking. I couldn't, because that would be he just throws out Beggar and calls it good.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't necessarily pick up this turn, but I would try and make it so that next turn you have the ability to activate all of it.
Yeah. Unless he's got some way to do something here, and with He's got one operative in hand, and that's his only character.
Yep.
Like, he could theoretically... There's really nothing he could do. Like,
no, it's really all about damage control at this point. And if he can't deal with Hark, like maybe you... So Joe's got 11 cards in hand, 20 force, and only Ben on the table.
Yeah.
So if he splits those guys up, he's likely looking at getting beat down.
Yeah. And, like, you can't just throw the TIE Scout at Corulag and hope. Like, that's not... Joe certainly has some space, and again, 11 cards in hand, 20 force. He can make something happen.
That may not be the worst move, because a beating like that, you get flipped or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you just throw it off the top like you were going to anyway. But more than likely, Joe does not have that much space.
And it looks like he's moving to put Boba Fett on it just in case.
Yep.
So, which... All right.
Get some Destiny.
Yeah, it draws some Destiny. I just don't...
Again, so I really think that at this point, Timo has given up on the game, and he's just trying to do what he can towards the match.
Yeah.
Especially because his light side should be in a... I would favor his light side over the ISB Scum deck.
Yeah. I mean, his light side is the Hidden Base X-Wings.
Right.
And... So, Talon, the reason you don't move to that docking bay is Joe's activating 20 force and has 11 cards in hand, and all of his dangerous cards are still in deck or in hand. He's still got Luke with lightsaber. He's still got Han and Leia with guns, who are going to add destinies with each other. And if he moves in front of those guys, Joe's retrieving with Draw Their Fire as well, which doesn't help... which just hurts Timo and helps Joe. Like, there's no value in...
Right. If he throws a Super Falcon beat down on that TIE Scout, Timo can likely flip the rest of his cards off the deck and call it good.
Yep.
But a battle in the docking bay with him moving all his characters over there may not go that way, and it would give Joe additional chance to see some destinies. And what Joe's looking for is 5 or 6 that he can then activate to and on the edge.
Yep.
Or
Joe just walks away to the forest and says, fine, now you drain for 2 instead of 3, but I also drain for 2, or you have to keep chasing me.
Yep.
Like, there's no... Joe doesn't have to battle. Like, Joe's in a really good spot right now.
Yep. Joe, at this point, should also be looking at differential, because he's he's got the game.
Yeah.
So he's going to be looking for ways to maximize his differential.
Yeah. And I assume we're going to see some sort of beat down here. That tells me he's thinking of coming at him.
I would say that's probably a Luke or a Han. Yep.
I think it's got to be Luke. Han alone is...
Oh, yeah, I meant either Luke or like Luke and Han, or Han and Leia.
So, has he used any of his... Yep, he used both of the Force from Beggar. So, Luke and Chewie, I don't hate that, simply that's the card that was in his hand, and Chewie's big power.
Right.
And whoever he hits, the other guy's... Like, if he hits Chewie, Luke's staying with the immunity.
Yep. Yeah, and he won't have to flip anything losing to battle damage.
Yep.
So yes, you definitely hit Cabal, because Cabal reduces your battle destiny by 1 with a leader.
Neither of them are leaders, though.
Not this turn.
Yeah.
But remember, he didn't have the force to do this and Ula, so he doesn't know what's in his hand.
I would I'm not sure it matters. The operative
has to, or you've got to control, so the operatives have to control 3 sites. Yeah. So right now, with Luke sitting in front of that operative and Melas next door, that operative is not controlling a site anytime soon.
Yeah.
So even if he did draw 2 other operatives, he still can't flip.
Yeah. And he does hit Luke, which means Joe's going to have to do something about Chewie.
Oh, that hurts.
That was real bad. That was... See, now here is where I would absolutely not draw if I'm Dillen.
Right?
You force Chewie to stay there.
Yep, and then whack him on your turn with Vader and the operative.
Yep.
Oh, and he's drawing. Why?
That was a mistake. That was...
No.
That was an oops. Although, yeah, Chewie could have just run away, I guess. So...
I mean, Chewie is immune, but...
Yeah.
Like...
But he's got a couple force. He could have just moved Chewie away and... Or moved Melas and Hark in.
But that at least has Dillen taking a chance at... Oh, so he left Chewie. So I guess Melas is coming in, or they both are? Like, I wonder what we're doing here.
I don't think you can move just one of them. Okay, so he's just moving Chewie away and giving up... Well, he's got 7 cards in hand. I guess he's giving up a drain of 3.
Yeah, but he tossed Han off his reserve deck.
Yeah.
And he tossed Tashi off his reserve deck. So, I'm not really sure. He may just not be thinking about it. And
he didn't toss Tashi.
Yeah, he did. He tossed that 0.
Oh. Okay, there it is.
Tashi off used pile and Han with heavy off used pile.
You're right, I missed the Tashi. I don't love that play. There's the Monarch.
I think he's doing that to see whether or not he's looking at some possible retrieval. Oh, and there goes.
And well, he successfully hit that sense draw.
Right.
So, I actually think he's, and we talked about this last round as well. I think Joe is not maximizing the differential.
And that very well could be. Yeah.
So.
No, he's definitely, like, with where he's throwing force from and whatnot, Timo has probably clawed back a total of, I don't know, between 5 and 10 differential.
Yeah, Timo's definitely helping bring some back. I mean, I don't know what's in Joe's hand, but, like, he's losing...
Right, well, and that's the thing. Like, for a situation like this is all good for Timo. Like, the more cards he gets rid of, the better. So he'll drag this game out as long as possible, as long as Joe continues to do stuff like that. If it starts looking like Joe's going to do a bunch of retrieval, which is probably what he was looking for with that Monarch, Timo would want to pick up.
Yep. Although with using that Monarch when he did, Timo couldn't have picked up this turn.
Mm-mm.
And would have potentially given that up, so...
Yeah, but instead he managed to knock another couple off the deck with the Sense.
Yep. So now this is going to... I'm not sure what that card is.
Which card? Den of Thieves?
Joe's 1 card in reserve.
Oh.
So the Abyssian Ornament misses. So Dillen has no more operatives. And that Lobel was the last non-unique alien he has. So here's the Ula, because why not? Point Man.
No, we've got 3 operatives in hand.
Wow.
And a Lobel.
Wow. He was playing more operatives than I think both of us thought.
I run 11, I think, or 12 in my deck, so that's why I was kept saying that he still has a chance to flip, but he's getting light.
Yeah, but the problem is now you know what, he's going to have to land both TIE Scouts. But this also tells, well, even if he lands both TIE Scouts, he can still No.
Yeah, he would be able to flip
He could still
possibly.
flip, because then he could just move everyone. He could land the 2 scouts at the 2 different spaceport sites, and then... And Joe's just drawing a few here, which...
Why?
I think Joe's searching for an answer for a question he doesn't need to ask. Oh, yeah, ties can't land at non-docking bays.
Right.
Huh.
Well, so he can... Yeah, I mean, that's...
So he can't flip. Because he can't control with just the operatives.
No, but he's got 2 Lobels. He's got the Lobel in the Den of Thieves and the Lobel in his hand.
Which is why Joe should have moved over, at least to force him to move.
Picked up a whole stack of cards. He's got his differential down from 30, where he had the game completely wrapped up, to 11 at this point.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I definitely don't, because he's got Heart there basically nullifying that drain of 3.
Yeah.
Like, you can absolutely slow roll into something.
I mean, he's only causing a couple damage a turn. Like, it would have been a slow grind, and maybe that's it. He's looking for either the retrieval or the beatdown. Why are you putting the Corulag operative there?
Because he hasn't read his objective.
Okay. Well, he has 3 in hand, so
he's got 3 in hand, so...
Yeah, but he doesn't have... He lacks the ability to control the 3rd site.
Right. I'm not sure what he's going to do now.
Or can he land the... No, that's the free movement. Is Spaceport Street, I guess he could...
Well, no, see, he just stopped. Yeah, I mean, he can always move away. Oops, yep. No, that was a mistake. Yeah. Like I said, he didn't read his objective because he's so used to flipping early.
Yeah. So now, I think he could still flip. So if he throws the 3rd one at the...
He can flip during his move phase, but that wasn't what he was trying to do.
Yeah, that's the only way he can flip. Because he could flip during move phase by moving the Lobel, landing the TIE Scout, and moving Fett to Spaceport Street.
Oh, actually, no, he can't afford all that at this point because he's at the street, so he deployed the other guys at the street.
Yeah. Well, the street move is free, and the landing at the docking bay is free.
Oh, well, so he doesn't have to land. So all he's got to do then, since the street movement is free, is move the 2 guys
from the
that are at the street to any other place, and then take the 2 that are on the docking bay to the street.
Yeah, you're right. It's...
Like, the TIE Scouts don't need to do anything other than sit there and drain.
Yeah. And that might be why Joe picked up, is he realized Timo can flip on him this turn, and he needs to do something. I don't understand that at all. Unless, is he just going to try and peel and call it?
Yeah, I think he's thinking that dude has 11 life force at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give him a chance to do anything back.
Yeah, seeing like Joe maybe shouldn't have drawn. Well, 9 will be enough because Timo will be able to peel the 9 force he's got that aren't active.
And then pick up the 2. Yeah,
and then pick up the 2 and end it. So,
which I really think I would do at this point.
Yeah,
because you're not gonna win.
Why, Timo?
Maybe he's not worried about retrieval. I don't know that we've seen Joe do retrieval, but with a deck like this, you kind of assume it's there.
But like Timo just... Timo's forgotten what all his cards do, I think. I don't know, like... I generally really enjoy watching Timo play. Timo is an outstanding player, and I'm not sure what all of that was.
I just wish he had played like this on our game.
I think he's just flustered right now. Honestly, I think he's flustered in trying to figure out what he can do and just not having success. Like, I don't think he was thinking how he could flip. Because honestly, if he flips there, like, this becomes an interesting game.
It certainly becomes a lot tighter for him, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't think he can win it, but I think he can definitely grind it real hard.
Right.
And that would have helped. And, like,
alternatively, like, a differential of 11 with Joe's light side going into a game where you're running hidden base, like it.
Yeah.
11 should be really easy to overcome if you're going to win.
Yeah. 11's hidden base should be able to win by more than 11. If you're going to win, you should win by mid-teens. And it's a matchup he certainly could win by mid-teens. I just don't... Yeah, I think... And chat's saying it, that Timo got flustered, and I think that's what it is. Yep. I think Timo's just flustered right now and is going to watch this replay and be really mad at himself and probably us for calling him on it. But
this is part of what Joe was doing, though. So this is partially where, like, when Timo and I played, the reason I played my Corulag Operatives first was because that should be a winning game against hidden base in general. And so, you know, the goal was to fluster him. What ended up happening is because I got smoked with Operatives against hidden base, I went into my second game flustered and was terrible. But so that's kind of what Joe was doing, is he was taking a game that he had the ability to throw a beat down with his light side, and hopefully we'll be walking Timo into a game 2 where he's got a disadvantage by taking that advantage in the mental game.
Yeah, and so Joe's, again, just leaving one in reserve. I can't envision starting a battle at the docking bay.
If he's leaving one in reserve, I don't know what else he'd be leaving it for.
Yeah, unless he's got it on the edge and some way to search for that. Nope, there he's activating the last one. So he'll drain for one. I assume he'll Ula just because.
For one force, might as well.
Yeah, like, see what it is. There's no reason not to.
So if I were Joe, I would be looking to Revo Obi's hut at this point. Because you don't need the Tashi activation. Yeah, you don't need the Tashi activation. Timo is not going to come beat Ula down in any way that actually matters.
There's Obi's Saber, and honestly, you could Revo Obi's hut and just move Ula there.
Oh, right,
like, you don't need the activation, but like, there's no reason. You don't need to. Dillen has one card in hand.
Right,
and Vader's on table. There's literally no one who can throw any sort of overflow on Ula in this deck, or even really in this format. Like Jasper.
Yeah. I mean, but those guys aren't in the deck.
Yeah, like, and even Jasper, like, it's not enough force for him to, you know. Jasper's not really throwing a beatdown on Ula, like.
On a revote Obi's hut, he kind of is. It's what, a 3+ a destiny?
Yeah.
But
it might cause some overflow.
He's not in the deck.
Yeah.
Like, this is a quick flip deck. This is a bunch of 1 and 2 cost scrubs and the operatives.
Joe will win by the force down. The cards in hand don't come into play as far as...
Yeah, they don't even come in for a tiebreaker because the tiebreaker cards in lost pile.
They never have. We didn't count them in any of the other matches. So I'm just not sure what Joe's sitting thinking about right now. Like, basically, you move, even at this point, even without if you don't even have a Revo, you move Obi to the hut. Okay, so he's got the Revolution, so now you're definitely moving him. You move one of them to the hut. You move Hark, Melas, and Chewie to the Spaceport Street, because leaving them sitting there is a bad idea.
So I don't actually know about that. Oh, yeah, because he's got Fett and Dr. E.
He's got Fett and Dr. E, so he shoots Chewie.
Yeah, no, you got to get out of there at that point.
You are running away from that. So yeah, Dan, there was definitely some talk on Slack about theoretical change in looking at how differential is calculated, but it's certainly not something we'd change mid-tournament. Like, you're not shifting that one midstream.
And differential has always been calculated as life force, not cards in hand.
It always has been, but there's an argument to be made that cards in hand are still a resource that should be counted. And it definitely utterly shifts the game when it gets late in a way that isn't necessarily intended. Decipher made a lot of decisions with how to play the game early-ish on that were not. I don't love moving Ula there.
There's no reason for that.
We're not with the top-level competitive players in mind, and in how those players would play.
So that I don't necessarily agree with, because it's very interesting that when everything was differential, when you get down towards the end here and you're really trying to keep your differential and stuff like that, it actually creates some more interesting opportunities in the game for the person who's possibly losing, because the other person may not pick up cards that they need to really lock it down. So I feel like that's something I've always liked about it, is that you've got to really balance trying to keep your differential up versus where you're at in the game.
Yeah, I understand the viewpoint. I disagree with it. I think I don't like shifting the gameplay to I want to change how I utilize my resources and play the game simply because of an arbitrary timer I don't actually control. You know, the having been timed out in games, in tournaments where I played far faster than my opponent, and my opponent waited on the clock till the perfect time to end it, is super frustrating.
I agree completely on that.
And it's also frustrating when you look at a game and this was one of the things that was kind of talked about, is we're kind of going off script a little bit because this game's over it's all over but the crying at this point. It's figure out where this goes. But like, if I have, 10 cards down and 8 cards in hand, and you have 11 cards down and nothing in hand, odds are I'm actually in a much better strategic position. Like, I am very likely, if the game extended beyond time, going to win that game. And that's what I think the timed rules currently don't necessarily take as into effect. However, it's much less of an issue now that timed wins count the same as a full win in strength of schedule. So I'm not.
And the other thing is that I can totally see treating timed wins differently than full wins or games that finish. Because what I'm talking about is mostly about a game that's going to run all the way down. If a game is going to run to time, then yeah, I think that you count all the cards but I mean, I don't know, because then you start getting into weird spots there.
And there's timed games not counting as full wins ended up always putting someone in a feels bad position, because you're either dragging the game out to turn it into a timed game where all that happens is you cost your opponent a chance at something. Like if you're sitting at the top table and like, well, if I time you out, I move into top 8 and you don't, even with the win. Or, I can time you out and lock you out and let my buddy in. That's a real bad that's an unintended consequence of timed wins being worth less.
Right.
That's a really bad interaction. And you also run the risk of the like, hey, this would have been a full win. Do you want to give me the full win? No. All right, well, now you look like a jerk.
And then you had people who were coming with decks that were specifically around, being able to time out a game if they need to.
The Maelstrom deck at Worlds?
Yes.
That when you're, hey, I'm just going to sit here for the entire hour and do Spaceport Speeders.
Over and over and over again.
Like, there's nothing you can do to stop it. There's nothing you can do to stop me. And we can either just do this for an hour or you can call it a timed win and move on.
Yep.
Like, and that's and Talon Jade's talking about, and this is kind of what I'm talking about too. Like, Decipher didn't always make rules with thinking through what's going to happen if someone abuses this rule.
No, I mean, even their way of dealing with stalling was essentially, you guys have to be doing an action, but things like Maelstrom, I'm taking actions. I'll continue to take actions.
Yeah.
You can't say I'm stalling just because I'm doing, a bunch of time-consuming things every turn.
And Decipher's tournament rules of, well, we're just going to tell you to enforce your own cards and move on, like, always ended. I'm very happy as a community we've gotten away from that, as Joe's coming down here with Leia with Gun and Twaska, and he'll get one back off Draw Their Fire. I would imagine he'll get one back off Twaska. He didn't even pay to retrieve. So he's predicting that Timo will win the battle. I think he's just wanting to shoot the operative and then kill Vader,
so he likely doesn't trust his destiny.
Yep. I mean, shooting the operative is definitely the play. It's
right.
And I think he'd actually be happy just wiping this site.
And that's the thing. He should clear the site. Like, unless he zeroes out.
Because, so now theoretically, if Timo draws bad and Joe draws decent, I could see leaving Leia, because with 4 force down, there's no way he can hurt Leia.
And he zeroes it again.
Yeah, that's
So here again,
that
Timo,
was not what he wanted.
Don't draw destiny. Okay, well, so he didn't hear me.
It didn't matter. Timo was going to lose. Joe's going to lose Leia there.
Maybe. I mean, we've seen some other plays. Like, I would at least make him make that choice.
Yeah, I guess. I would have definitely.
Sure, but you're at least giving your opponent a chance to screw up. Like, if he chooses to go in a different way or think he's got something, maybe it opens an opportunity for you. It doesn't change the outcome of the battle either way. Leia's getting tossed, and Vader stays, or Leia doesn't get tossed. But it doesn't. I don't think there was any downside for Timo to not draw destiny on that.
Yeah, once he'd drawn the 0, it didn't really.
Right, Vader is sticking around, so you take the chance that maybe he leaves Leia for you to whack with a lightsaber and overflow.
Yeah, and that Timo may still be a little bit flustered with figuring that out. But I mean, honestly, Timo got it down to
10
11? Cards.
Yep. So
10 or 11, because he'll take a drain of 3. He's going to lose 4 cards to the drains.
And so with Timo activating the 4, I'm not sure if he's going to try and drop down for another drain for next turn, or pick up.
I think he's going to just pick up. I don't see anything else.
He might get another turn of drains through, though.
Well, because he's getting drained for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he could.
And depending on what he's got in his hand, he may be able to cancel that 4 one more time.
Yeah. And actually, with the Spaceport Street moving for free, theoretically, he could move everybody but the Operative in front of Hark, Malos, and Chewie, and then land a TIE Scout with that Operative.
Yep.
And get peek that drain and sit on it for one more turn. Like, I don't actually hate that play.
I don't think you even do that. I think you spread out across the darn planet. I mean, what's it going to do? Overflow you?
Yeah, like that. You're not worried about the overflow. The thing is, you can't really spread. No, Timo picks up all but one. Like, you can't spread that far across the planet because it's Spaceport Street that allows the free movement, and he'd have to move there first.
No, I know, but there's 2 unoccupied spaceport sites.
Yeah, but he can't get to them.
Oh, because he's at the street. I'm sorry, I kept thinking that he was at the prefect office.
No, he's at the docking bay, so he would have had to move to the street.
I was thinking Hark and company were at the prefect, not at... Yep, so that's what we're looking for, was to be able to cancel that drain.
Okay. But yeah, he could have moved in and blocked that drain of 1. Now, if he loses this one, he did block that drain just to keep his lost pile a little bit more manageable. But...
I mean, I can't imagine he would do that at this point, get another turn of drains through, because that's going to go into the differential.
Yep.
He's only got 2 cards in hand.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really, really tight for Joe, because I very much think that the ISB deck is behind the power curve against HPX.
Yeah, I think there's another Leia with gun. I mean, Timo doesn't have any force to... Like, Timo doesn't have any way to kill Leia, so that's gonna...
Yeah, so that'll clear Vader and will stop that drain at 2.
Yeah. But he's still got a drain, and he's gonna...
And so that, actually, no, that takes us down to just the Corulag drain, because Hark will stop the other one.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So he'll get the drain of 2 at Corulag, and that's it. So yeah, I'm definitely saying my whole move a bunch of guys around shenanigans would have been at least theoretically more interesting. I don't think it would have ended up doing anything. So, Timo's gonna drain for 2 and get nothing out of it, and then drain for 1 at Corulag, which
scoop probably.
I'm assuming will be from hand.
Right.
Joe,
at this point, it really should be.
Joe appears to be thinking about this far too long.
1 card is.
I don't.
Oh my gosh, we tossed off the deck.
There's a lot of whys. Okay, there's Ozzel, who's cute, but what are you doing? Oh,
he's doing that, because why not?
Yeah. It's...
Makes Joe lose another force, because Joe just showed he's willing to keep that card in his hand. Right, there we go, another one.
Okay, so he had Neighborin, which is cute, but I don't know that it would have...
Right, why are you sitting on Neighborin at this point?
Yeah. I guess maybe he was thinking of Neighboring over to a battle and retrieving 1 and netting out a 0 difference in...
But I mean, he's got...
Differential? Like, yeah.
He's got all of his force activated at this point. He's not going to let you...
So, Joe by 10. Joe has 35 in Lost. Timo actually only has 37 in Lost.
Yep.
So, I'm... Other than that 1 turn, I actually think Timo played it
fantastically.
Very, very well, and getting it as close as he could have. And honestly, if he'd have done that 1 turn a little bit better, I'm not sure he wouldn't have won that game. Being able to shut him down.
I don't know about that, just because Joe had a bunch of cards in hand.
Yeah.
And he could have played it out differently if that had gone differently.
And I think you're right. He would have had to play it out very differently, but I think it would have been. I think it would have been closer. So here, well, we're going to start in a minute. I was going to say we could throw into that. Watch Bastion versus Pet playing a OCS game, but they'll be starting again here.
Either way, that was a very good game, and again shows why Dillen is such a scary player. Like, I was very much going into my matches with him knowing it was going to be an uphill battle, and it absolutely was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do have a decent amount of gold. I don't make a lot of foils just because.
Well, so that's what buying reflections boxes is for.
Dan, I gave you decks. I'm not giving you gold and decks. And I saw you're 4-0 in that tournament. If you finish ahead of me, we're going to have a talking at Worlds. As Dylan's got the next game up, ready to go. I assume he was, because he's the one who asked for a minute to play.
Yep. So
he just said, well, I'll throw it up and wait for Joe to join.
Dillen is going to be looking to just do what he normally does, flip, stop the drains, drain as quick as he can. For Dillen, it's going to be really key for him to flip fast. For Joe has got to get his Tatooine drains set up as quickly as possible to see if he can get a couple in before the flip.
Yeah, anything Joe can do to make it happen quicker is what he wants to do. So Joe's going to need a good opening hand. Like, if Joe misses the if Joe misses like Jabba's Palace early,
yep,
that could be real bad.
Very much. So Joe's in a little bit better spot here against Dillen than he would have been against me, just because Dillen only runs 5 systems. So Joe has a pretty good chance of being able to scan out the hidden base.
Yeah. Well, and especially if one of them is Coruscant, that immediately locks, because Coruscant can't be the hidden base.
Right.
So he's got the audience chamber from hand, which is good. I mean, he needed the activation and the dungeon. Those were not the 2 he really wanted, but the bad feeling have I plus no bargain means he's probably safe.
Right. I mean, the only thing he's missing at that point is JP.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Jabba's Palace gets him the other. He runs the other 102, doesn't he? The audience or entrance cavern or something.
I don't actually remember. Maybe he does.
I'm like 85% sure.
So this might hurt.
Grimtash from hand. None shall pass. Monarch. Scout. 5d6. Scout.
Yep. 3 scouts.
Jabba's Palace. 3 scouts, which is obnoxious, but.
Right. Well, so the one nice thing is that since his objective actually retrieves the scouts specifically, it doesn't matter how far down they're buried.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying, is like it slows down his start, which is good for Joe, but like...
Well, Timo was hoping to hit a pair of Jabba's Palaces on there.
Yeah,
because that would have been huge.
Yeah, getting rid of that battleground would have been great. He didn't get rid of it, and he saw he's got one.
Yep.
But he got his Rebel fleet out right away, which is good. And he knows he's got a turn or two now to set up. So, like, because he knows Joe can't do anything. You know,
but Joe has a none shall pass, so really what Joe can do at this point, he's got no escape and bad feeling have I. I would actually go fetch Galed in the audience chamber.
Galed, or does he have Chal Beckon and use Chal to get an Outer Rim Scout?
I believe he does, yeah, but I think that fetching Galed, because Galed does the +1 drain at all of those sites.
Yeah.
And you're going to bounce whatever he sends.
Yeah, and that would have been the other... So Abyssian to go grab a Outer Rim Scout. So Joe's got at least 2 ISB agents in hand now, because he had 5d6
Yep.
and the scout. And Timo's just grabbing a system. He might drop an X-Wing or two. So there's Bespin. I think Bespin was his hidden base last game. So I don't think I think he'll not use Bespin again.
I don't believe I actually probed it, but I think it was, I think that where I did try and probe.
Or maybe it was the game before it was Bespin, and you're right, you didn't get a chance to do anything to it.
So. No, I just got smoked. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about it.
Well, but we got to fill time somehow. No, I'm not going to do that to you.
I mean, so technically, if we're going to go there, we can always go with the fact that I ended up in the hospital shortly afterwards, so we can say that Timo beat me so badly he hospitalized me.
I mean, that does sound like something Timo would do. He's
right?
You know, it seems a little mean, but so Joe is using Jabba's Palace, I think, just to see what he's got in there. Like, there's no reason. There's nothing.
He may have another site in there.
Is there even another site in there?
Yep, the Rancor pit.
Oh yeah,
and the workshop. So there's two more. I don't know if he's playing them both, but
the workshop would be a reasonable one to play simply because he's got the 5D6 droid.
Yep.
Like, he could theoretically just throw him in there and be like, all right, okay. So he went and got Mosep with. Oh, and he's got Galed from hand.
Right. So this is his This is his anti-hidden base attack. Right. So what his goal here is he is hoping that he's either going to force Timo to play a system in a way that makes it obvious that it's his hidden base, or to nail something nice off the top.
Yeah. Dan couldn't be here to help do commentary, so instead he's just trying to create problems in the chat, I see. So Timo won fairly convincingly against Ian in their top 4 matchup, and I won't say anything else because neither Dan or I even came close to the top 4 in this event. So
I made some mistakes, and then my light side, which was very good against things that are not operatives, with some of the changes that I had made with it. A lot of those involve drains of 1, which are not helpful against operatives.
Yeah.
So operatives was very much a much harder counter to my hidden base than I expected it to be, as well as the TIE Scout space package let him spread out across my extra systems faster.
So he does not have the Dagobah. Timo does not have Dagobah for the planet it's farthest from to just shut down those Tatooine drains. So
yep, he's going to have to rely on his objective, It's a Hit, and Rebel Fleet.
And I'm assuming he's not going to get his objective this turn. He's going to eat 1 drain of 1 off reserve deck. Because I'm assuming he's sitting on an It's a Hit, and he's got the Rebel Fleet to cancel the other drain of 2. So now he's going to eat the drain of 1 from Mosep off reserve.
Well, so hang on before we go there. So Joe has a Monarch. I bet he Monarchs.
Yeah. Red Leader and Red 1, X-Wing, It's a Hit, Leia with Gun, X-Wing, the Signal, Hyper Escape, Tunnel Vision, Organized Attack, X-Wing, and Kessel. So he gets rid of 3 X-Wing. Nope. Oh no, because Yarna, so he doesn't get rid of anything.
Yeah, he was looking to get the It's a Hits.
Yeah, he was hoping to get more than 1. Well,
It's a Hits, or
I think he's running a couple grabbers though, isn't he?
So, since we're on the last game, that would be one of the things that Joe and I have had many conversations about, is that Joe only has 1 grabber in this deck.
Yeah.
So
Dillen just peels an X-Wing, which the fact that he has Kessel in hand means he's far less concerned about peeling, because I think Kessel's his last system either way.
Yep. I believe so. There might be 1 more in there. But, yeah, there's not.
Joe gets the Den of Thieves going, which will be important. Like, Joe needs...
So Joe has a lot of space, so eventually Joe is going to scan out the hidden base.
Yep. And looks like he had at least one more Jabba's Palace site as he's going to get it, and it didn't immediately say Timo gets a reveal. So, yep, it was the droid workshop because, yeah, if you've got a droid.
Yep.
Oh. Actually, it doesn't give you the bonus to drains with the droid. I think that's EV99.
No, it's EV99.
Yeah. All right, so that's just a 1L. Pullable 1-0.
Well, so Joe is going to have, I believe, 2 Presidents of the Forces, so he'll turn
2 of those into those sites.
Yeah, the drains will be absolutely brutal once he gets going, because he'll get ISB guys at those sites. So he'll have 4 battlegrounds that are getting bonuses from ISB and from Galed. Yep. And then that 5th site that is just getting the Galed bonus.
So he draws up above 12, I think, basically saying there's no way Dillen had more than 1 Grimtash.
Which is not true, actually. I believe that Dillen has 2.
And because I see Dillen happily tunnel visioning.
Right. I did the same thing. He fired a Grimtosh off at me early, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good now. And then he fired a second one off and snagged some Operatives.
So now with 16 cards in hand, looks like he didn't get it because he's draining now. As I say, I would have actually, if he'd gotten the Grimtash, I probably would have run it lost.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With this being the type of deck that it is, so against like Timo with the Yarna and him having that many cards, that's what I was looking for in my game with him, was the Monarch to throw when he'd gotten over. But
I mean, even if he'd gotten the Grimtash, he would have gotten 2. It looks like he had 6 systems because he had Coruscant.
But Coruscant you can't use as a hidden base.
Coruscant can't be the hidden base, but you just have to have deployed 5 battlegrounds.
Right.
So he could have just dropped Coruscant and left only 4 options for the drain.
I really hope his hidden base isn't Bespin and he's just not going to play any cards there, because that really just...
No, he's going to move he's got 2 X-Wings now. He's moving 1 to Bespin and 1 to Kessel. It was simply a matter of you deploy him to Rendezvous Point for cheaper, and you save 2 force on the Rendezvous Point and then use 1 to move him. So it saves him 2 force to do it that way.
Yeah. No. We're good there. For some reason, I was thinking he couldn't make it all the way to Bespin from the Rendezvous Point.
Yeah. So now the question is, does Joe have what he needs to flip and hopefully start getting stuff going? Like, he's got 1 scout out, he's got 1 on Den of Thieves, he's got 1 5d6 if he needs it.
What's going to be interesting here is whether or not Timo flips, because I don't know that I would flip in this situation. Right now, Joe is only draining for a max of 5, and you can cancel 2 of those drains. You've definitely got your hidden base on the table at this point, and the longer you wait to flip, the longer it is before he can probe you, and the more damage you're getting through. And right now, Joe's not doing enough.
Your damage is super limited, because until you flip, your drains are only 1 at the systems.
Sure, but I mean, that's a drain of 6 a turn compared to a drain of 1, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's certainly not flipping until after Joe's deploy phase. Like, there's no reason to see. I don't like that.
So there he flips. Yeah, no, because I mean, at this point, there's a chance that Joe can drop down and get the hidden base right out of the gate.
Yeah, I don't like that play at all. Although, he's got at least a couple X-Wings. He's got the organized attack. Like, Joe has to at least be a little concerned if he goes to space that he can do something to not get the crud beat out of him. And actually, that Coruscant overwrite is really big.
Yep, and that's something that has been working really well for Joe in other games against hidden base.
Yeah, that turns that drain of 3 into a drain of 1.
Right, and it mitigates, because really, with most hidden base decks, you're really only getting nailed with drains from 3 systems: Coruscant, FX, and Kessel. And mitigating that Coruscant drain is huge.
Yeah, no, that's a massive. So he gets 1 Outer Rim Scout on there, probes Kifix right away. That was not it.
He didn't get barriered, though, which is what happened when I tried to go out and probe things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would almost have sent the Outer Rim Scout to Kessel. Or not to Kessel, to Kashyyyk, where he just sent the Bosk bus.
Yeah.
so that you can move away from it. But I guess that's why he did the Java boat first, was to make sure that he wasn't going to get barriered.
And if he had gone, even moving the Java boat to Kashyyyk, he gets a battle destiny because of the Outer Rim Scout with the if not able to otherwise text. Where if he moves, like he wouldn't get one right now with Bosk.
Right, well, that's why I was concerned about the move with Bosk.
Yeah. But if he barriers Bosk, you move Java's cruiser over with Bosk.
Right.
And threaten. So I don't know what Joe had in his hand, but I don't love that he didn't figure out a way to get his objective flipped.
No, he is. He's only got to deploy one more guy.
Yeah, now he's got it.
Assuming he's got another one in his hand that's not 5d6, because 5d6 is horrific.
5d6 is just expensive. Like, I'm surprised he must not have found Scum. Because right now, he'd still be satisfying Scum, and he could be taking advantage of cheap deploys.
Cheap deploys and fighting some X-Wings for some retrieval.
Yeah.
So that will limit the Kessel drain down to 2.
Yeah, that'll save him a force a turn, which is good. Like, in this matchup, you need that. You need your force. He's going to need all his force, so.
He only kept one destiny, so I assume that he is expecting Timo to cancel at least one of these fights.
He's not even bothering with the fight. I mean,
well, you're not. Yeah, sure. There's hyper escape and other stuff in there, but
you're not fighting at Kashyyyk because, well, I guess organized attack gives him +1 power, so you at best get +1. I don't love stacking them together there. I don't see a lot of value in.
Well, so he's worried about the counterbeat. He may not be running something like Dick. So at least this way, you've got 15 power and 2 destiny and Outer Rim Scouts that you can throw.
Yeah. That's about all you've got is, and throwing the Outer Rim Scouts hurts right now because he's still not flipped.
Right.
As horrific as 5d6's 4 deploy is.
Yeah, I'd have deployed him and retrieved a scout back.
Well, and more so, if you start pitching them from Java's cruiser, you can retrieve them.
Right. Which is how he functions against hidden base.
Yeah, you need that. You need that going.
Yeah, his whole plan against HBX specifically is to trade Outer Rim Scouts for X-Wings because he's retrieving one every turn, whereas the X-Wings are not.
Yeah, and here's the drain of 2 at Kifix. He must have he does not have a Outer Rim Scout in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Or he's saving it for the Kessel drain, which is also going to be 2. Nope, he does not.
He just doesn't have one.
There went
Chawl on his next turn, he absolutely needs to throw 5d6 on the table.
Yeah, but he can't afford to lose an Outer Rim Scout right now at Bespin. Although I don't think Timo wants to battle him there.
I wonder if 5d6 actually was used to probe.
Could have been. As he probes Bespin, and maybe that's just it, is he's like, well, I'll probe it and it won't matter. So, Leia on the Tanev, and I'm betting Leia's now going to shuttle down.
Yep.
And just... You weren't going to get anything out of her at Jabba's Palace?
Right.
Between the Nunshell Pass and the
That's
fact
actually
that she
something
deploys
that
for $500,000 or so.
Was happening to Joe when we were doing playtesting, as I would move an X-Wing from Coruscant down to that site and then drop dudes on top of it.
Yeah, and E-Scrapper, you're right. Joe... I'm not sure Joe's getting the differential down where he needs to right now. And that's not a good thing for him.
Well, so he's got a Bisson to go with the scouts, as long as he can get flipped and start retrieving scouts. But he's got to get flipped, and he'll get the probe next turn.
There's
Maybe.
no. I think you almost have to. I think you just spread out, and especially if you've got another outer rim scout, you throw whatever forfeit fodder you need to on Bosk,
Right.
and you
Oh,
split them.
he needs to probe it, like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you throw whatever forfeit fodder you have on Bosk, you split them, because then you can probe Tatooine and Kessel.
Right.
Oh yeah, I should put that on there. I thought about it and then I forgot. Let me update the players, because now Joe is dark side and Timo is light side, and Joe is currently +10. Look at that. So he throws down secret plans, which is good. I mean, he's gonna get an all wings.
5d6 needs to get deployed. Okay, good. So there goes 5d6.
Honestly, I'd have put
Why is it
5d6 on the
5d6 with
tooth,
Galed?
or just on the houndstooth.
No. So if you drop
Yeah,
him
why
with
isn't he with
Galed,
Galed to get the +1 to the drain there?
right?
And the hyper escape. I don't like that play, Joe. I don't like any of that play. So yeah, if you're not going to throw 5d6 on Bosk just to have forfeit fodder, you throw him with Galed to get that extra drain now. Although the drain's almost immaterial.
Well, not really, because in theory he's going to probe him next turn.
And that's what he's got to count on, is getting those probes through. So he
So he
docks
just
the
moved the
space
scout-
cruiser and moves the scout over. I guess probably, yeah, just to give him some forfeit when he moves them both over.
And he's going to send the Bosk over to Kessel.
Yep, so he's able to probe. I mean, Timo's going to struggle to. So all his EPPs are deployed. His guys with weapons are deployed +4 to go after Galed, and he knows Joe's got at least one nunshell pass in hand.
But Timo's going to pull ships with an organized attack as soon as he's past the Monarch point, would be my guess. He's got 2 on the Rebel fleet already.
Yeah, he's going to go after one of those 2 ships hard. And I think it'll probably be...
I mean, you might as well do Bosk because there's already 2 ships there.
And Bosk is also slightly lower forfeit and lower power when it's all out. That actually is a solid question. That's why he didn't put 5d6 there. Droid detector.
Oh, right. He got screwed by his own anti-R2 tech.
Yeah. That answers that question. So this is what happens when you play cards that we don't remember what cards do. I mean, yeah, you're going to try and beat him down somewhere, but like it doesn't matter where the system is the hidden base, because he's got the cards in hand. He can probe either way.
Yep. Yeah, Timo is getting probed out this turn.
Yeah. And then it's going to be a question of can he get enough going?
Too little, too late, because he didn't get much through in the way of drains ahead of time.
Yeah.
His differential is not great now. Now, the longer the game runs at this point, the better it is for Joe.
Yeah, now that Joe's flipped and probed, Joe's in a much better position.
But he's already down to 13 life force. So he'll get back 3, 4, 5 from the probe cards.
Yep. So, but he's not, the drain at Tatooine will be cute, but it won't do anything. Like, he's going to reduce that drain at Tatooine to 0, but he's still going to be eating 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 a turn in drains.
Well, possibly. He might just camp out on Kessel, but Timo also has a big retrieval coming still, because he hasn't done his all-wings retrieval.
Yeah. And there's going to Kessel. Which, yeah, that's... So Kessel's getting probed, and I don't see any objective blowing up, so it must have been Tatooine was the objective, which is cute. There was the hidden base.
Hopefully Joe will remember to probe. Okay.
Yeah, that's... So it literally was the last system it could have been for Joe. But I don't think it... Man, that doesn't matter that much now. Like,
didn't matter.
He needed to have it.
Yeah.
And starting at...
split up the prior turn.
Yeah. Starting it at 2 and running that way slowed it down instead of starting at Kessel and moving the other way. And especially if he was going to start a battle, I think I would have preferred he start at Kessel, battle to force the hyper escape and send him off Kessel for a turn.
Right. That's what I was thinking was going to happen, is you hit it, Kifix and Kessel, you kick them off of those.
Yeah.
And even if you consolidate at that point, you've stopped both those drains for at least a turn.
Yep, because he also didn't battle at Kifix to force him out of there.
Right. He just ran off.
So I don't know how this is gonna... How well this is going to go. Like, Joe's got the force to use if he's got the Gick. And if he doesn't have the Gick, this is game either way.
This is game, right.
If he doesn't have the Gick, it really doesn't matter if he's got a force to use or not. Like, so
yeah, if there's no Gick, then this is done.
7, that's 17. He's got 8 in forfeit there, I think. So it's...
Oh, well, that's helpful.
That helps, but it's still... He's still down... I guess he's down 3 after everything. That could have been far, far worse. I'm like, what are you thinking about there, Joe? You can't leave Boskin Bus sitting there. Oh, he did not have the Gick.
And he just top decked Scum.
Yeah. Which is bad for him right now, although... So now Timo's going to have to move a couple guys over to Tatooine. Yep, there's Red Leader and Red 1. I mean, Joe could theoretically just throw that extra Outer Rim Scout on there and count on Timo's Destiny being really bad.
Hopefully he's got a Scum in hand. So if he has a Scum and ideally First Strike, but I actually think that one of the things that we talked about is he forgot to put First Strike in, so it would just be Scum and then Retrieval off draw or fire.
Yeah, I mean, if he can start those battles, that's good. That'll be very good for him, especially if he gets that 6 back.
Right.
You know, if Timo doesn't have another organized attack.
Well, an organized attack is the card that that Joe was looking to grab with his 1 grabber, because we talked about that, and you know his strategy for dealing with hidden base is really to trade scouts for X-wings because he gets them back.
Yeah.
And because of that, that makes organized attack actually the worst card for him, more so than it's a hit, because organized attack means he's not killing any X-wings.
Yeah. So he gets 3 drains a 3 through, all peeled right off the top, which is bad for Timo long term. But yeah, I mean, he lost a Obi with Saber, which you're fine with because you can't afford to do anything with him. Like, and you know you're just going to run into the None Shall Pass, so there's no real benefit to it.
Well, you go drop him over at Leia to consolidate down on that site.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that would be the other thing. Joe could just go at Leia right now, just to wipe her off of that drain of 3 if he's got another guy in hand.
And that's the thing, he's got to at some point, but I don't know. So that's the other thing you might have done with 5d6 is put 5d6 over there to at least reduce that drain.
Well, it wouldn't have reduced it any because he's got Ultimatum out, or he's got Resistance going. It's a drain of 3, but he's got Resistance, so it's a drain of 2 anyways. And dropping 5d6 there just turns it into a drain of 2.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything else, yep.
So I'm assuming that was the 6 that was...
it should have been
on the bottom of his deck. That's what it should have been. So now let's see what he does. I mean, the 6 is good. If there's not an organized attack, the 6 is really good.
Right, because that'll clear Tatooine.
That'll clear them both, yeah. Although the Tatooine drain is immaterial. Because you've got
No,
the
but
scouts there, so he reduces it to 0 either way.
but he's just trying to get these guys off the table because then he can
Yeah.
go stand in front of another drain or drain back.
Yeah. So he got the 1 retrieval. He did not have Scum in hand either. So he gets the 1 retrieval. Oh, it was a 5, not a 6. Oh, yeah, he'd listened earlier that turn to go fetch it.
Yeah, 5 will just clear red leader.
5 will clear red leader, and I don't think Jabba's Cruiser's immune. Yep, Jabba's Cruiser has no immunity. So, but Dillen's only got 3 cards in hand. Like 2 of them are one's an X. He's got an X-wing on the fleet, but that's it.
Yeah, no, I mean I would go stick Jabba's Cruiser in front of Kessel.
No.
Oh no, maybe not in front of Kessel.
no. I'd move it to. I think honestly, I'd move it to Bespin.
You might as well stick it to Kashyyyk because he's not going to hit you back hard enough to matter, and it puts you in front of the drain and gives you a chance to start a battle next turn.
Yeah, that'd be the other option.
Because if you just run over to Bespin, like odds are he chases you with 4 X-wing. At least this way, you're stopping a drain for sure, even if you choose not to fight on your turn.
Yeah, and that might be what he does. That's going to be... He's got to move somewhere. Like Tatooine, you can ignore right now. So you can't go to Kessel. Bespin or Kashyyyk, I think you're right. The blocking that drain is better, although I would be mildly concerned that Timo's got another X-wing or 2 in hand, or an organized attack to go fetch him and just tries to decimate you.
If he's got an organized attack, he's going to decimate you wherever he goes, because that'll be 3 X-wings in hand plus the 1 on Rebel fleet.
Yep.
So that's why I don't think that you're saving yourself any by going over to Bespin. I think that if he's got that, he's going to womp you either way.
Yeah. So, well, he retrieves an outer rim scout, draws a few. Probably at this point, he might just be looking for Scum, and hoping. I don't know what he's.
I think he's looking
16
for
16 cards total, and he's going to eat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6,
he's looking
7,
for a
8.
way to pull this game around.
Yeah, because he's going to eat half of his cards available in drains right now. So
and here goes Timo.
Grabs the all wings.
Why?
Maybe to force Timo to have to draw for it and hope he misses.
But Timo is up by 25 differential at this point.
Yeah, you.
I was thinking that if he was throwing the all wings, he was throwing it basically just to kind of poke the bear and pad his differential.
Yeah.
But it's not like he needs it to take the match.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's the. And yeah, Joe's just getting cards peeled here. There's not much. He doesn't really have any answers right now.
Mm-mm. A lot of his answers are in his lost pile.
None shall pass from hand, which I gotta imagine it means he's got a second one, but
or he may just not be worried about it at this point.
Yeah, he's running so tight on cards, there might be a whatever, and this would be a spot as he loses the Gick from hand as well, although he's got no force saved, so. Because that would be the other spot, is now this is when you can go, alright, I'll throw down the character. I mean, Timo can land an X-Wing at Jabba's Palace, but it's going to be power 0, and although Joe doesn't have anything to do with it. There's the ultimatum to reduce Joe's...
But it gives Joe a chance to fight and retrieve.
Yeah. So, and here he's just going to retrieve one. I imagine he's got a...
He may not have anything.
Attack. He just
he's just doing one extra point of damage.
Yeah, cost him the 1, lose next swing, and call it a day.
Yep.
Actually, you lose 2 there. So, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think he'll peel the other two because
no,
again, he's got batting. Yep.
Yeah.
He'll probably move the Tantive if it can reach.
It can't. Tantiv's hyperspeed of 3.
3. So
Yeah.
then, yeah.
Move a couple from Kessel and...
Right.
Yeah, and just... This way, even if Joe does drop Scum and try and say, hey, I'll retrieve a bunch, like, it's still an ugly situation.
Yep. And I think at this point, Joe is far enough behind with not enough out-of-room scouts on the table that I don't think he can come back. Because, again, we still haven't even seen the all-wings retrieval.
Yep.
And at this point, we're looking at 3, 7, 9, 10.
Yeah, but he'd have to pay for the 10, like...
He's activating 14 a turn. He's got 21 down there. So no, he certainly can.
If he's got the all-wings, he can do it. I think that might have been why Joe grabbed it, is just a, let's see how many all-wings he had.
Right.
So as he gets the could be worse off as well, with Joe only having 5 force total. So not sure what his out is here.
Yeah, no, there's not one.
He's not one, as he just conceded and concedes the... I mean, technically concedes the match, but
that was already
it either way. So congratulations to Timo. I know Dan, I'm sure we'll reach out to him and see if we can have him on Holo Theater.
Luke, I just want you to think about this. If you had beaten Timo for us, like you were supposed to, way back in round 1, this could have been Joe or I. Just going to throw that bus out there for you.
Yeah, I mean, Joe went a long way on the strength of a really unfun to play against light side that did a whole lot of nastiness to him, and a dark side that didn't match up great against hidden base, and he was able to get around it, and Timo was able to take advantage of it at the end here. So congratulations to Timo. Thank you, Ian, for coming on and
absolutely
commentating all through the event. You did a great job, and definitely keeping giving a little bit of extra viewpoint as someone who I think is probably more familiar with this era from playing it more recently than, certainly myself or Dan were.
I appreciate it. And might see you guys back for the PDS2 games.
Hopefully. There'll be some sort of retro event at Worlds if people are still thinking about that. You got about 2 months before Worlds is going to be in New Jersey in August. Lots of stuff going on right now. OCS is going on. I don't know if anybody heard, but we did just have a new set drop full of all sorts of fanciness and lots of unique new virtual cards for the folks who play in the open meta. So things are being really interesting. I did say new set. We've been subtle about it. Like, the PC is not really telling anyone. We just kind of surprise you with it. But it dropped and is live on GEMP right now. And I got to say, it's pretty fun. I did some deck building this morning and last night and playing around with it because it's fun. There's a lot of new things, new stuff going on, and
I think someone posted in GEMP that there were like 75 cards or something.
It was a huge set. It's 75 cards. There's a couple of brand new deck types. I know they brought in the Clone Army and Clone Wars stuff as a whole new objective, and it's an interesting. They're trying a lot. Our volunteers, our playtesters, our set designers, our slicers, like all of our volunteers do awesome work. And I'll throw out my quick cheap plug. If you want to volunteer for something, there is always a space for you. Like Ian, approached us about adding commentary for these, and we're, you volunteer for something, we'll let you do it, because this is a players committee. It is run by us and for us, and that's what we're trying to do. So that's my cheap plug for volunteers. Otherwise, I'll let everybody get back to your Monday afternoon, whatever you're doing. I'm kind of want to see what the OCS, see what we got going on right now in here. If there's any fun games. There are no OCS games going on and not even any up right now. So this is a good spot for somebody to drop in, play with some new cards, and have some fun. But Ian, I'll let you get back to whatever you were doing. Yep. Thank you again for
drop off of here,
coming on, and you guys all have a great rest of your day.
Cheers, everybody.